Hello, everyone. This is Natalie with Marketing Resolution. Thanks very much for joining us for today's interview. I'm chatting today with Allan Blank from Australia. Hello, Allan. How are you?
I'm good, Natalie. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
So I wonder if you would explain to the viewers a little bit about your practice there in Australia. Tell us what it is that you do.
Sure. So I effectively wear two hats. I have a practice as a barrister, which is a litigation specialist. For the North American viewers, it's the people who wear the funny wigs and the kind of black capes when we go to court. So we've always got a Halloween costume ready. But in addition to that, or as an adjunct to that, I have a mediation practice. And I practice in the areas, I call it the 3Ds: death, divorce, and debt. So in family law, will disputes and probate disputes, and some commercial disputes. And I practice mediation in those fields as well.
Very nice. All right, excellent. So I know that when we have chatted earlier, one of your primary concerns is helping people who don't necessarily have the really, really big business cases to litigate, that your concern is primarily for the little guys, people like me, just normal Joes who have maybe a personal divorce or a business issue and don't really have the time, the energy, or the money to spend on a massive litigated case. And I know that you work really hard to help your clients analyze their particular situation without giving legal advice, of course, so that they can best take advantage of your services. Can you tell me how that looks? What does that work like?
Yeah, so what I noticed quite early in my legal career is that very often it's let's say the small or medium business owner, or as you say, the individual, who cannot both afford to either go to court but cannot afford to let the dispute that they're in go unchallenged, because a small business needs those sorts of money for their cash flow. Now, I'm not suggesting the big end of town should not use. I think anyone would benefit from alternate dispute resolution and mediation, but it's those smaller individuals who I think, well, the game's not worth the candle if you take this all the way, but you can't let it slide either. So what are we going to do? It's a very tricky dynamic. And to try and promote that as a way forward for small to medium businesses and individuals in those sort of positions.
Yeah, and I know that it's not just the money aspect, although fully litigating a case can be really expensive. For most of us, it's foreign territory. It's what we've seen on television, which is not a true representation of what a litigated case looks like. We can't resolve our cases in 30 minutes, prime time
yes.
scheduling.
So I'm very mindful of the emotional cost of litigation. I see a lot of that in family disputes, but also in commercial disputes. I'm also very mindful of the delays. And so there's this continual stress on people involved in litigation because it's costing money. Sometimes it feels like it's not moving forward, or it's moving forward at a glacial pace. And in the meantime, there's this underlying feeling of what's going to happen. And to be fair, no one can really say what's going to happen. Litigation is just hazardous. And so the philosophy I adapt in in all spheres of my practice is, how do we bring this to a head as quickly as possible? How do we get you out of this situation as quickly as possible? What are all the avenues that we can explore to try and get you to a position where you have some finality and you can move forward with your life? Because particularly like in family law matters, at least here in Australia, they really do drag on, and it sometimes suits a party to maintain the status quo, and the other party needs something to change. And that sort of stress just grinds on, and people can't organize their lives. They just don't know what they're going to get, when they're going to see their kids, all these sorts of things. So yeah, it's cost, but it's the uncertainty, it's the stress, and just having to frame your life around this big unknown quantity that hangs in the air.
Yeah, it's expensive on all fronts. So, well, now I know that you have a really professional website, and I would like to encourage anyone to go to your website if they have any questions about this kind of solution for any issues, conflicts, or disputes that they have. And so I'm going to read it here just to make sure I get it correct. It's resolutionmediator.com.au. Have I got that right, Allan?
Yes, you have.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to put that website in the description bar down below so that everyone has that information, so that they can contact you as a resource. And I don't want to get too terribly personal, but I'm a little bit curious. How is it that you decided to transition away from a fully litigation practice to this hybrid of litigation and mediation? What prompted that?
Well, just during the course of my legal career, which spans 2 countries and many years, I just noticed the propensity of people to resolve matters on the doorsteps of court after many months, years sometimes, lots of legal fees, and often resolving it at a point where they were almost just getting back what it's cost them. And I thought there has to be a better way forward for these people. It just seems a huge waste of time, effort, and resources. And I was wondering what was being done to promote thinking about this at an earlier time, rather than by the time everyone's completely spent from having gone through this ordeal. And that's what got me thinking along those lines.
I really like that humanistic side of your practice. That speaks really highly of your professionalism, Allan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, as always, everyone, I will encourage you to subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed this video. I will encourage you also to reach out to Allan at his website, the resolutionmediator.com.au website. Again, that's in the description bar, and Allan is a really generous professional human being, and I know that if you click on his link, go to his website, and reach out to him, that he'll get right back to you with answers and more information. Allan, thank you so much for joining us today and explaining a little bit about your practice.
No worries. Thank you.
My pleasure. I hope to talk to you soon.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Bye.